excuse me, you have Tyler on the right, with Experiment Jun.
I believe Tyler's on
the left. I had it right the first time.
Yes.
Tyler on the left with Experiment Jun. Joseph on the right with his Nihumans deck. The players are ready. They're just looking for the green light. And we'll be underway here in our semifinals.
So which deck do you believe has an edge here in this matchup?
You know, honestly, this Jund aggro deck, Experiment Jund, has really impressed me thus far. Just with, you know, its power level. It's playing very, very good creatures. Not to say that the Nihumans deck isn't, but I'm leaning towards the Experiment Jund deck. It's just, I was impressed when we had it on camera the first time.
Yeah, no,
I think Tyler played quite well the first time as well.
Yeah, no, his play on camera against I believe he was playing against Blue, White, Red Flash.
Yeah,
was very impressive. So, I would not be surprised to see him take this down. Although I do think that the threat base and the curve of the Nihumans deck is just a little bit smoother, a little bit more consistent.
As you do see, both players are ready here. They've just gotten the green light from our table spotter, and we are underway here in the semifinals. Tyler, Lindsey on the left is on 6 cards, and Joseph is going to start with a Champion of the Parish. Tyler's just going to start with an Overgrown Tomb, and he's going to pass it back. So let's see if we can get this champion a little bit larger so far. You do see a Temple Guard, and you see another Champion of the Parish in Joseph's hand. So we're going to have a 2-2 champion and a 1-1. Counter goes on. In for 2. Tyler's going to go down to 18.
And Joseph is our first overall seed in the tournament. Hasn't actually lost a match yet. And he'll get to be going first all through the elimination rounds.
And Tyler's going to come out with a Strangleroot Geist, and that's going to play defensively, looking to hopefully trade with one of these Champions of the Parish. Let's see what Joseph wants to turn. You do see a Clifftop Retreat. So it has all the colors of mana, and now you're going to see a Frontline Medic. 2 triggers here for the Champions of the Parish. See a 3-3 and a 2-2, and a 3-3 is safe to attack. And Frontline Medic, one of the newer cards, we'll bring up for you guys. It is a human, and this is in one of those situations where the battalion ability of giving creatures indestructible is actually going to be quite relevant here, as the attacks are just going to be simple and easy.
Yeah, you know, the card's gotten a lot of hype for the sacrifice power and being able to deal with cards like Sphinx's Revelation and Bonfire. But I think a lot of the power of this card, in standard at least, is going to be allowing your creatures to alpha strike into defensive creatures like Restoration Angel and Thragtusk, and, you know, Strangleroot Geist here to a lesser extent. Just being, you know, with the control deck stabilizing primarily through creatures, being able to just alpha strike with all your guys into a Thragtusk. Your opponent blocks 1, but it's not, you're not losing any of your board. You get to hit for some amount of damage and maintain your board presence and your integrity. I think is going to actually be where in standard it's going to shine the most.
And so now what you're going to see here from Tyler draws an Abrupt Decay for the turn. You saw Strangleroot Geist get in front of the 3-3 Champion of the Parish, save himself some damage here, puts into play a 3-2 Strangleroot Geist, which can actually block and potentially trade with the other creatures that are on the table right now.
And I think Tyler's passing with Abrupt Decay up. This is some amount of danger in this play, of course, if he's planning on Abrupt Decaying the medic inside of combat, because Restoration Angel is a
thing.
And it is a thing.
And the thing is here. So Restoration Angel is going to 1-up that Abrupt Decay. You're going to see champions get larger here as a result. Now we have a 4-4 and a 3-3 Champion of the Parish. The 4-4 is able to swing free. And you can also make an argument here for swinging with a 3-3 one as well, just to get the Strangleroot Geist off the board.
Yeah. But I think that he feels like, Joseph probably feels like that Strangleroot Geist is going to do nothing but chump block. It doesn't even want to let him offer up that trade.
And this is the difficult part for Tyler's deck here, is because I don't feel like this is a deck that plays defense all that well. As you do see Searing Spear take care of that frontline medic, but again, he is behind on the board. He missed his land drop this turn, and you can see a Hell Rider currently in Tyler's hand, but he needs to play defense now, and he is on the back foot, and there's no great way for his deck to actually catch up.
Yes.
As you do see a Sacred Foundry coming to play untapped here for Joseph. You're going to see a Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Triggers are going to resolve here. Champions are going to get a little bit larger. Another frontline medic, more triggers. And now the champions are just too large for this deck to actually interact with favorably. And he's just going to concede right away.
Yeah, and that's the reason that I like this matchup from the Nihumans side. His deck's just a little bit more efficient. There's nothing, you know, Tyler's spending a lot of time and energy casting 3-mana 3/3s.
Okay.
And Champion of the Parish is something he doesn't really have that efficient of an answer to, and can outclass, most of the creatures in Tyler's deck. Yeah.
Well, we are back here in the booth, and it's trivia time. And just for you guys wondering at home, Andrew does beat Brian Bronduan in Game 1, Mono Red versus Humanimator. Must have dusted him up pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Brian yesterday, and he sort of felt like Game 1, especially being on the draw, he was behind.
Sure.
And then he felt like the matchup got much better for him Games 2 and 3.
Okay.
But, of course, you don't want to be just down a game.
Yeah.
So Brian felt like the matchup was not good for him, definitely below 50%, but he feels like the post-board games are going to be much better. So no surprise to see him get taken down Game 1, particularly when he was on the draw.
Sure. So it is trivia time. Pat is going to ask you guys a question, probably be a little softball for you guys. And simple question, when we'll give away 6 months of premium. Send the answer to hashtag SCG Premium. Pat, take it away.
Joseph Herrera, Naya Humans. Gate Crash has just come out. There's a new human we saw in Game 1 from Gate Crash. It's a rare 3-mana creature that the Naya Human deck is very easily able to incorporate.
Indeed.
So hashtag SCG Premium, and the winner, name that rare creature from Gate Crash, and one winner selected at random will win a half a year of SCG Premium.
Yeah. I think that is your quote-unquote softball.
It doesn't get too much softer.
No, I think that's fairly easy. Very nice of you this morning.
I'm in good mood.
Yeah.
These matches have been quick and bloody. I'm in good spirits.
Yeah.
I feel like giving a little something back.
Yeah, you got your cup of coffee. You're good to go. You're good to go. Looking at the sideboard here for both players, which we'll have on the screen for you guys momentarily. Again, Tyler Lindsey on the left, down a game here with his Experiment Jund deck. 3 copies of Skullcrack, not good in this particular matchup. 2 Tribute the Hungers, they're okay. They're not great. They're not probably going to pick off what he wants to with that, like he would against a more traditional control deck. 2 copies of Rolling Tembler, however, I think can be quite good here.
Yes.
Your 3-mana Pyroclasm type effect. There's a way that he can catch a couple creatures before they get out of range. Two more copies of Abrupt Decay, you can almost bet are going to come in. 2 copies of Golgari Charm. I don't think the -1/-1 effect is going to be so good here. Naya Humans creatures are relatively large, or can be made larger, so that's not going to be particularly good. 2 copies of Gruul Charm, a Raptor's Charm, and a 4th Deathrite Shaman in a sideboard. Of anything, I think the 2 Rolling Temblers are going to come in here, maybe try to catch Joseph off guard. But again, these players do have each other's deck lists in front of them, so Tembler is a card that doesn't see a lot of play. And, Tyler probably did catch some people off guard during the Swiss, but now that both players have perfect information, I think this is a card that, Joseph is going to see on the deck list and realize, okay, I can, do something about this.
Yeah, and the 2 Abrupt Decay seem quite good here because the Naya Humans deck has so many good 3s, particularly Medic and Silverblade Paladin.
Yeah.
So Joseph's sideboard, he has access to 2 Pillar Flames and 2 Centaur Healers. Centaur Healer probably for more dedicated mono red and Rakdos style decks, but I think it actually will be good here because Tyler's a pretty aggressive deck with a lot of 3/3s, so Centaur Healer will probably get to do some good work. He's got a single Fiend Hunter, which I like a lot here.
Yep.
He has a couple copies of Garruk Relentless. Again, I think Garruk is in general pretty reasonable against creature decks, particularly ones that don't have a lot of flying. Tyler has his 2 Thundermaw Hellkites, but overall it's going to be pretty safe. 2 Oblivion Rings. I like it again here. He's got, Dreadmangler and Hellrider is, a solid number of 3s and 4s. Tag with an Oblivion Ring. The rest of the sideboard, I don't think he wants the 1 Zealous Conscripts.
It's a little slow.
It can have moments of being good, but yeah, I agree. Basically, it's overall pretty slow. And the rest of the sideboard is basically for other decks. So, but the Oblivion Rings and the Fiend Hunters and the Pillars and the Centaur Healers are fairly, I believe, pretty big upgrades, particularly over cards like Thalia.
I think the interesting thing about this matchup is, I think Tyler's deck is a lot better when it's on the play than when it's on the draw. I don't think his deck plays defense very well, as we saw in that last game. The Champion of the Parish got out of range too quickly. Restoration Angel messed up a lot of things, and a frontline medic would have ever gotten active. Blocking is obviously impossible.
Yep.
Whereas on the flip side, I think Joseph's deck can actually play a relatively good game on the draw, because of cards like Unmatched to the Fells, because of cards like Restoration Angel. He does have a couple copies of Searing Spear. His, early plays aren't particularly great on defense, but I think that he can, do some chumping and some trading before his good cards actually do get online. I don't think that Tyler's deck actually has the opportunity to do that. I think he needs to be the aggressor in this matchup always, be on the play or the draw. I don't think he can switch roles.
No, I agree. And Joseph's threat base is just a little bit more efficient. I feel like Tyler's in this matchup. Nine Humans is just so good at brawling. I mean, the threat quality is insane. It has acceleration in Navison's Pilgrim. There's a lot more efficiency and synergy in what he's doing. Tyler's deck is just kind of a pile of good threats. They're all individually awesome. And I believe that the Jund list is more robust playing against decks that have removal, because he doesn't have synergies that are being broken up. He just has a density of very efficient threats. But this really isn't a matchup about removal. These are just pound for pound who has the better brawlers. And when the Naya Humans deck isn't being disrupted by a density of removal, I think it has by far the best creatures in the matchup.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think Tyler's just behind here.
That being said, I mean, he certainly has a deck that can get off to some very, very nice starts with Experiment 1 into String Root, Geistor, Flinthoof Boar, into Dreadmangler. I mean, that's a start that's probably difficult for a lot of decks to beat, be it a Nine Humans deck or a Control deck or even a Mono Red deck. So we'll see if he can, jump out of the gates early this game, because he was a little bit slow out of the gate the last one. And as we saw, Champion of the Parish got way too large, way too quickly. And, then he had to actually Abrupt Decay a card like Frontline Medic instead of, the 3/3 Champion. And, you can predict, the Champion of the Parish is going to get bigger over the course of the game, but it's kind of a situation of damned if you do, damned if you don't. What am I going to Abrupt Decay here? And it just harps on your point of the synergies between the deck. They're hard to break up with just a couple of spot removal spells. You need that density or, that mass removal type effect to break up what Naya Humans is doing.
Or you need to be doing sort of a mono red thing of putting a lot of pressure and picking apart the most relevant things as you're winning very quickly. And the Experiment Jund deck isn't quite set up for that kind of battle. It's, like I said, just about playing just very pound per pound efficient threats, but they're not as efficient as Naya Humans, assuming the Naya Humans deck isn't having its stuff killed.
So we do see both players present the decks over. We are going to lay out 7 cards apiece here. Moving on to game 2, Joseph Herrera up a game. Tyler Lindsey will be on the play for game 2. Looking for a better start than the previous game. Takes a deep breath. Is he happy? All right, he does keep, as does Joseph. Let's see if we're going to see a turn 1 Experiment 1, maybe a Deathrite Shaman. There's your Forest. There's no turn 1 play.
Tyler's hand looks awfully land heavy from over here.
Yeah, it does look like there are a lot of lands there. I know there's a Searing Spear among those cards, as you're going to see a Cavern of Souls naming Human to go along with the Avacyn's Pilgrim. Tyler takes a draw. You've seen Abrupt Decay a Searing Spear as well.
Yeah, I don't know if he has actually any real threats. I think he just drew a boar.
Yeah, untapped Blood Card. I think he also did just draw a Flinthoof Boar. Yep.
There it is. This is a card that, a lot of players have high expectations for now with Stomping Ground in the format.
Yeah.
We saw a little bit of this card getting played even pre-Stomping Ground, so...
Yeah, Mark Lalagoo.
Yeah.
Over in San Diego.
There's a Thalia. I'm a little surprised to still see in the deck. A 2/1 First Striker is just not that solid against Tyler's threats. He has so many 3/3s. And he's obviously also not that spell heavy.
Yeah. You can see a Woodland Cemetery here. And Tyler's draw step this turn was an Experiment 1. You see him kind of reaching for his mana. And he's going to Searing Spear the Thalia. A little surprised by that as well, because I don't really consider the Thalia to be much of a threat here.
Yeah, I would have tried to take out a Pilgrim if you were committed to using a removal spell that turn.
We'll see if it's going to pay off for him, as Joseph does draw a card. You do see another Cavern of Souls in Joseph's hand, so land-wise he's okay. But again, I think I agree with you on maybe attempting to take out the Pilgrim there so that he can't start to play 2 spells in one turn, take him off for Restoration Angel land, those different sort of interactions.
Yeah, and even real subtle stuff, like with the way the format is now, when you're attacking someone's mana creatures, when you're in a beatdown deck, it just increases the likelihood that they're going to have to play a Rabdul untapped. So that's just even more incentive to make that play.
Here comes your Avacyn Pilgrim. I'm going to knock Tyler down to 17. So 17 up. And we're going to see a Frontline Medic now. So Tyler's just going to untap. He's going to take a draw step. He does have a Gorklan Rampager in his hand, which he's moved to the front. You're going to see a Rootbound Crack here. Searing Spear is going to take, Abrupt Decay is going to take care of the Medic. Strangle Root Geist is going to come across here. So you're going to see an attack for 5 with the Flint Hoof Boar and the Geist. Joseph's going to move down to 12. Selesnya Charm over in Joseph's hand. He just draw a Restoration Angel for the turn.
And Tyler obviously off to a much better start in this game, but I still feel there's a risk of just the creature quality in Joseph's deck overwhelming him. He has cards like Restoration Angel and Selesnya Charm. He's just very well set up to win in combat.
Yeah.
So as good as Tyler started here, he's by no means got this locked up. Although the Rampager in his hand also quite good.
Yeah, makes combat a little bit more difficult. But in turn, the scary thing about the Rampager is giving one of those guys +4/+4 and trample. While great, Selesnya Charm can kind of make that backfire.
Yeah.
And you do see Joseph coming out here with a Silverblade Paladin pairing up here, and so that's what we might end up seeing this turn, Patrick.
Yeah.
As he does have that white and green mana available.
And what you're seeing now is, what you spoke to in the sideboard games. Joseph can actually play defense. I mean, he has Selesnya Charm and Restoration Angel in his hand. He can actually try to lock up the ground, make combat very difficult for Tyler, and then eventually start attacking with a Restoration Angel. Tyler really can't do that in reverse. So he's only got one way he can play, but Joseph's creature is so efficient and versatile, he can actually kind of shift gears. And you're seeing in this game when he's on the draw and a bit on the back foot.
And now you can see Tyler considering things here. Again, these players do have they have each other's deck list. And so, he's thinking about right now, okay, my opponent has 2 mana open. It could be Searing Spear, it could be Selesnya Charm. Both are a nightmare for me right now, as far as Gore-Clan Rampager is concerned, and the Blood Rush ability on that. So what to do? I can't even really attack very well because of the Silverblade Paladin. He's got 3 power first strike damage in play.
I mean, you can just send the board here and test the waters, right? I guess you can just double block. You're still you still have to act first.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is tough.
I mean, he can just consider developing his board here. I mean, the thing is while he is a little bit ahead, and Joseph is beginning to stabilize, if you're Tyler, I think you have to consider, all right, well, what's the rush?
Yeah.
Do I need to really pressure things here? And I'm even fine with this play of just playing a 4/4.
Yeah. There's so many things that make combat go poorly for him that he might as well just commit another creature to the board. Over on the other side of the bracket, Brian Bronwyn has won game 2, so that's actually our first game 3 of the elimination rounds.
That's true.
All of our quarterfinal matches yesterday were 2-0s.
2-0 beatdowns. As you do see in Joseph's hand, in Mare of Averbrook, he also has that Restoration Angel, Selesnya Charm, and a mystery card. As you're going to see Silverblade Paladin come across into the red zone.
I feel like there's a Keswick Wolf Run. Okay.
Yeah, there is a Wolf Run among those cards.
But he can't activate it, right?
Yeah, it's a card that he can't activate right now. But again, the threat of blocking here because of first strike with those spells that are in his deck is very, very scary.
Well, I think that I would have been happy to block with the board and just test the waters.
Sure.
Because you gotta see what's going on at some point.
Either way, Champion of the Parish is going to come down post combat. Joseph has the 4 mana available now to either play Restoration Angel or the Selesnya Charm in his hand, and can threaten the idea of a Searing Spear, which he has 3 copies of in his main deck as well.
And that's the reason I think I would have blocked with the boar last turn, because that, whatever you're playing around, that Selesnya Charm or whatever, that card's not going anywhere. And it's not too hard for Joseph to leave up mana because he has so many things that play at instant speed, Restoration Angel and Selesnya Charm and Searing Spear. So I think you just got to test the waters and see what's going on. If anything, you need more information to work with before you can start moving into combat yourself.
Yeah.
Tyler's still sitting in a position where he doesn't really know what's up right now, and that's not going to happen until you try to block, put your worst creature in front that induces a trick, and see what's up.
Sure. This is certainly a situation where, it's almost a situation where you have to just get past that point in the game.
Yeah.
By blocking, it's like, all right, you clearly have something. Let's get this part of the game over with.
Yep.
Figure out what it is. Even if it kills my Flint Hoof Boar, that's okay. This part's over with now.
Right.
Now, a card that I think that Tyler probably did board in here is Rolling Tumbler, and that would be relatively good right now.
Yeah.
As you are going to see Experiment 1 and a Dreg Mangler, so you can see he's starting to gum up the ground quite a bit here. Restoration Angel can begin to take over the skies, and that's where things get a little bit dangerous as well, because if Joseph chooses to, he can't play a Restoration Angel here and then blink the Silverblade Paladin and Soul Bond.
Yeah,
that
this
way.
this is a disaster. This Alpha Strike's going to be really messy for Tyler.
Yeah.
I mean, Champion becomes a 2/2. Restoration Angel can eat Dreg Mangler, and the Silverblade Paladin can eat. Yeah, I mean, this is. I'm almost positive we're going to see the Restoration Angel here, and then it's just an issue of how Joseph wants to rock him in combat.
Yeah. And this just goes back to the point that you brought up just, a minute ago about, with the attack of the Silverblade Paladin, if he puts the Flint Hoof Boar in front of the Silverblade Paladin, the turn's completely different.
Yeah.
As far as, Joseph has less mana if he chooses to Selesnya Charm, and also that trick is out of the way. Also, he would have had to tap the Evanston's Pilgrim to cast Selesnya Charm. So there's just a lot of things that are different.
Yeah, I mean, he would have had to tap Pilgrim plus Stomping Ground to play the Selesnya Charm. Then Cavern plays Champion of the Parish, and now his remaining lands are Wolf Run and Cavern Souls. You don't have to play around anything the next turn. You can just do whatever you want. And there's no threat of Restoration Angel because his mana's been tied up in other things. So,
in a way, you are going to see a Restoration Angel here from Joseph as he was thinking out his play, and he's figured out what he wants to do. He's going to target the Silverblade Paladin. You're going to see a Champion of the Parish trigger. And they get +1/+1. These guys are going to partner up, change their Facebook status, and now I think we're going to start to see some blocking.
yeah.
And if you're Tyler, you're thinking, all right, that was worst case scenario for me.
Yeah, that. Yes. Although he's still taking a pretty big hit here. His two lines of blocking are get rid of the best stuff in play and lose some amount of my board presence, or try to just eat some guys with first strike, but take a ton of damage. So I think this combat's going to go very poorly for Tyler, but Joseph's still under some threat here, and it looks like he's going to take the road of he's going to take a big hit here from the Mangler and the Rampager, and probably just try to. Okay, he's going to just let this go through.
Yeah, and he's just going to try to kill him on the counter swing because he does have the Selesnya Charm, and with the double strike pairing from Silverblade Paladin.
Sure, it's 5/10.
Yeah, it's effectively +4 instead of +2.
Right.
And so Experiment 1 can get in front of, the Silverblade Paladin, but we're looking at if he does Selesnya Charm the Angel, that's 10 in the air, 2 from the Champion, 1 from the Pilgrim, that's exactly 13. Well, actually, I think that's not true because he needs the Pilgrim to actually cast the Charm. So he does need a white mana now.
Yeah, if he chump blocks the Paladin with Experiment 1, then he falls to 1.
Yeah. So it's important that he doesn't get the math wrong on this step. Now he does have he drew a Temple Garden for the turn, so this actually is going to change everything. And he also does have a Mare of Averbrook in his hand. So
yeah, the Temple Garden means that he can just Alpha Strike and put Exacxes on him.
yeah.
He can fall to 1.
So you're going to see the Mare of Averbrook here.
I guess Mayor simplifies this too,
Yeah.
right?
And he can play the Temple Garden on tap, fall to 1, and he has the Selesnya Charm now. And you're going to see an attack with all the creatures here. And there's, a good block doesn't really exist here. He's going to get in front of the Silverblade Paladin. And the Selesnya Charm is likely going to finish this off. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I believe as soon as Joseph flashes it, we're going to see a concession. That's
There it is, yep.
Joseph Herrera, still undefeated on the weekend.
Yep.
With 9 humans, defeats Tyler Lindsey in his Experiment Jund deck. 2 games to 0.
And yeah, you just saw it was a deck between a lot of combat on the ground, and Joseph's deck's just much more efficient.